Hey everyone, welcome to the show. This is Kev, and this is Black Man Being Brutally Honest. So, how y'all doing? For those of you who know, I tried to do this show the other night, and it just wasn't good for me because I was very under the weather. But for those who don't give in, you know what about that, and wasn't here the other night, yeah, it I think I got some of the point across, but it wasn't a very good display. So, um, I'm gonna go ahead and so for those of you who watched the other night, I've had time to think about this topic, thoroughly, and I got a clear cut opinion about it. And some people may not like it, like it says in the title. This might upset you a little bit. And I'm not that YouTuber that's always trying to go for shock value and trying to upset people and just oh my god, just be overall trying to rage bait. Yeah, like I know I fell for some rage bait this week, and that person went ape shit and tried it. And hopefully, if that person ever hears what I say, I don't give a shit. I don't, like, not for real. Shoot, I am here to give a perspective. And if you don't like it, why don't you go back in your little hole and shut the fuck up? That is just all there is to it. Like, this is kind of for me a PSA about online bullying. It doesn't work on me. So anyway, um, yeah, just now kind of getting on the subject matter. It's been kind of some of these stuff just been kind of getting on my nerves a little bit. And you can respect people's opinions and such, but some people's points of view is just kind of nerve wracking, and it's like it goes without people really thinking about why people think the way they do and such. Uh, okay, also, just want to do this real quick for the doubters out there. Look, look. This is me. This is me. I got a Joe Biden comment this week. Oh, you ain't black. I think it was on my I think it was on my Hulk Hogan short. And for those of you who've been watching my shorts, thank you. And I don't mean like gym shorts or anything. I'm talking about like YouTube shorts. I like to thank y'all for supporting those, and that those things will get your numbers up quick, but you get the point across kind of quick too. So it's something that's all good with me. So all the new subs, all the people watching right now, and in the replay game that you have to hear the kind of hear the opening. If you want to fast forward to the good stuff, you can go ahead and do that too. But I appreciate everything. But by all means, if this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button. If you are new to this channel, if you run across this show, please do hit the like. And let's get to the show. Okay, and also I will be periodically camming up and camming down. Something else for the haters too. So there you go. Anyway, yeah. So this topic has been discussed ad nauseum. And I wanted to come back to it. Like I said earlier, I wanted to come back to it because I just didn't feel like for what I presented the other night, I didn't do it enough justice. And yeah, it's almost got me to the point where I'm kind of wondering, and you know, being a race soldier these days, I gotta tell you, I mean, for the black people who are listening, I don't care about how other races feel about this shit because y'all, some of y'all been getting on my nerves out there about this, and then like a lot of the racism that Rampage Jackson has been facing himself and is taking a mental toll on him. I believe that I should say it how it should be said. And that's what everybody who watches this expects me to do. I mean, I think that you would respect me more that way now for telling the truth sometimes, for being brutally honest sometimes. People will hit that unsub button, and that is your choice as well. If If you can't take me at my worst, you can definitely not have me at my best. I'm just I'm just fucking with y'all. But look, look, man, look. There were so many mistakes made in this situation for me, who has been a wrestling fan ever since I was knee high to a Rottweiler. um, and somewhat of an MMA fan as well. I said how it went. Rajah Jackson, yeah, he took it too far, but there were so many mistakes on made on the way to that moment that it's kind of hard to blame just him. Yes, they was talking about some the guy got punched in the face over 20 times, which we all for those of you who watched the video, yeah, it was he punched him over 20 times. Those didn't look like paintbrush shots either. Those look like potato shots. Said guy's face was fractured. Rajah knocked some teeth out. Dude was choking on his teeth. And I don't know if some people were just exaggerating. Cause I mean, I'm looking at pics of Psycho Stu. This guy doesn't look like he has like 2 or 3 black eyes and a face that's wrapped up or anything. But that's just me. I would think that the damage was a little bit more severe than that. I mean, I'm not saying that, oh, Rajah didn't knock the man teeth out or, he didn't break his face or anything like that. But, I would think that from seeing, facial injuries in the past that this man might be a little bit more black and blue, like wrapped up in some bandages. But maybe that's just some TV shit. I don't know. I mean, we run the risk of sounding like a dumbass, when we do these things. I'm just a regular person. I am no expert. Some people do appreciate my perspective, so I want to let you guys know that. But if I had to choose a side, and like I said, it doesn't have to be on no blackness thing. It does not have to be on the black men thing, but it's something that is hard for me not to think about, especially with the racist connotation that is involved with this situation. How some people, especially the internet fan guys and people who didn't give a shit about Psycho Stu until he got punched in the face 20 times. Psycho Stu, I guess, wasn't psycho enough. Like, but see, I'm not making light of the situation. He has a family, he has friends, and I'm sure they were shaken, rattled, and scared when he had to go through that. So, you know, I'm gonna blame Psycho Stu somewhat. I'll explain it in a second. I explained it the other night, and I'll explain it again. I am going to blame the promotion, Knox Pro Wrestling, or a promotion that is headed by former WWE superstar Rikishi. Um, I'm gonna blame his friend AJ Mana. Even though AJ Mana got on the F Y'all podcast, I like that name. They said that's CT Fletcher's podcast. And he was like, he was just doing what he was told. And he said one thing in that interview that I said the other night, but that broadcast is in private, so you probably won't be seeing that broadcast again. Um, he said that was a full beer can. It was not a prop beer can. It looked full when he hit him in the head with it, but Rajah, he probably had this old alpha male thing going on. So I don't know what, because how you young guy, you think you tough, you try to bow up. Well, Rajah probably is a little tough. He's trained. But kid barely, kid barely moved when he struck him with that full beer can. It was a full beer can. Go back and look at that tape. Well, go back and look at the video. Then, you would subsequently see AJ Mana. Oh, that's some bullshit. Go and get your receipt. I mean, AJ Mana didn't quite explain thoroughly what a receipt was. So yeah, that man done got more than a receipt. That man went and got some we got some coupons, got some free shit, all that. A receipt is just like a equal hit back. But the one thing that AJ Mana did say during that interview with CT Fletcher is that um, Raja was instructed by one of the agents backstage saying that repeatedly hit him until we pull you off. It's like, why would you want to tell this dude that and he doesn't know a fucking thing about wrestling? I mean, he knows that it's fake, but there's a way, like, you gotta do things in the ring, you know, if you gotta make it look real, you gotta make it look like people getting their asses whooped. So, um, so yeah. So, so you got 0 experience. 0 experience, Rajah Jackson. 0 experience. Which any veteran wrestler, like they say Psycho Stu was, because Psycho Stu's been in like 2 decades. And I said this the other night, anybody should have known, like that was a trained professional, that this guy should not have been involved in any way, shape, or form. Like, how was Rampage Jackson's son supposed to know who this guy is? You don't know me? Hell no, I don't know who you are. Oh, you don't know who I am? Then hit him in the head with a full beer can. Man said a prop beer can. I get so sick. Like, what's making me sick of hearing that is like I do watch like wrestling podcasts and such, and it's like, and like I said, we don't mean to make too many things about race. You know, we got to stop apologizing for that. But it just seemed like most of the white ones are saying the same dumbass shit. It was a prop beer can. I mean, and some of them have been in the ring, but you know, sometimes I don't trust biasness. You know, I mean, some of these guys have expertise, but if you've been in any of the other conversations, just because you have experience doesn't mean you have expertise. Yeah, I mean, as far as certain uh wrestlers go, there's some guys whose words I will trust more than others. I'll say that. Yeah. But, you know, I'm not really flipping my position too much. It's just that from the way the situation is developing, I'm starting to believe that people are being a little whiny here. So, anyway, after going through all that, you know, Raja gets pumped up. He's seen recording on his live stream. Yeah, I know it's fake, but I'm finna whoop this dude ass. I don't know if he was trying to sell it then or whatever, but you know, according to what happened, he went in there, he really whooped that man ass. Because the way it's described by, you know, the expert is when he picked him up for the slam. When he picked him up for the slam, as soon as his back hit the pavement, well, the canvas, the ring, his head snapped back and he was out cold immediately. And then Raja brutally beat him in the face 20 times. Well, hit him in the face over 20 times. Yeah. It was wild and crazy stuff, man. For real. And yeah, I do wish a speedy recovery to Psycho Stu. I do. But here's the thing, and I'm gonna explain it like Mark Henry. Let me get to that slide. I wish we had another way we could look at these slides. Yeah, Jackson incident and irresponsible act of violence. Yes, it was. It was. Yeah, it was. You didn't have to do him like that. Like any guy who used that type of aggressive force know that you're hurting someone. And this dude, and then like the recording afterwards. Yeah, they tried. You know, people try. See, I hate seeing shit like that. How you know young men go off like that because because it makes them look bad. First of all, it makes them look bad. Look like they ain't got no fucking rationale. And then now you got all these old annoying internet weirdos talking about, oh man, it's toxic masculinity on display here. So yeah, yeah, we'll get to that one in a minute. Yeah, that's just AJ Mana. That's Psycho Stu. That's a caption by WWE wrestler Rusev. saying that I've known and trained with Psycho Sid for 15 years. And that after reading that sentence right there, I was like, okay, this is the part where it occurred to me that Psycho Stu should have known better than to walk up on somebody he didn't know, like at all, because I would have been taken aback by that too. I'm not a wrestler, motherfucker. And then they did all that little white boy apologizing. I mean, I'll tell you about that in a minute. Okay, so Mark Henry. Let me hold on one second. Let me do this real quick. Let me share the screen. You know, everybody's upset with Mark Henry because Mark Henry said, you know, he was basically talking about locker room culture. He was talking about how hold on. Yeah, it came up for a little bit. Yeah, he was basically talking about how they used to kind of do him back in the day when he was a young guy. And really, like, what he all he was saying was, "These young guys have changed, you don't know what's gonna happen, and, you know, I'm also gonna make the point that, hey, you know, I'm a man, and I don't need to prove it just by, you know, it bowing up to some young guy or trying some young guy, like, little young whippersnapper, like, shoot, everybody ain't built for hazing." And, you know, people did shit like that, you know, hate, you know, you've heard of fraternities where they do kind of, you know, physical initiations called hazing, where they're basically beating somebody up, you know, in many cases bullying. You know, that was basically what Mark Henry was talking about. Shoot. Saw one time somebody like they said wrestlers would get to the point, like, and I mean, I'm not lying about this. Wrestler would put shit in each other's food. And shoot, and especially like with the Mark Henry came in, like I don't know if the racism was dying down or whatever, and apparently it didn't because years later, Mark Henry and I think Michael Hayes, I think it was like a WrestleMania weekend. Like Hayes was Michael P.S. Hayes. Anybody know about the Fabulous Freebirds? Um, went up to Mark Henry. He was drunk. He was like, "The reason why you haven't gotten over Mark, you know, getting over is like, you know, if you win the crowd and you know they make you world champion or something like that." Said, "We know why you're not getting over Mark. It's because you're not black enough." No, this dude went full Joe Biden with a bonus. He said, "Mark, I'm more inward than you," and I'm talking about inward with the hard R. So, so that's the kind of shit Mark Henry was talking about. But let me share the screen here real quick. Share the screen. Shoot. Thanks for those who are watching. Also, shout out to the replay gang. Your views are appreciated. Yes. So got this looking at this Google search. Here goes Yahoo Sports. You know, this is the backlash that Mark Henry has been receiving. Said Mark Henry won't apologize for his very dumb take on Roger Jackson's attack on Psycho Stu. Okay. Well, I wouldn't call it a very dumb take. Um, you know, these folks be sitting up here talking about empathy and shit. It's just, you know, as a black man, you know, empathy falls short on us, so we're kind of used to it. But then there's this thing called common goddamn sense. You know, you as a human being are a culmination of your experiences. And if this man is telling you what he experienced, I wouldn't call it a dumb take at all. There's a lot of dumb takes out there. But if we say that half of them are dumb, we get called all kinds of goddamn names. Oh, you're phobic, you know, in some type of phobic or some shit like that. You know, they you got a bunch of these old butthurt. I'm trying not to say that word, but butthurt white folks sitting up here talking about, you know, the good talking about Mark Henry's being racist, and then they're being racist toward him, trying to drop all kinds of N words and all kinds of uh I don't know, alarm detector batteries, smoke alarm battery memes and shit. You know how they are. Shoot, that shit never went away. And here you are, another reminder, black man, of what they really think of you. Besides the Kendrick Lamar reminder, the the Carmelo Anthony reminder, the Captain America 4 Brave New World reminder. Like, shoot, we just keep getting reminded time and time again how much America likes us for real. Shoot, shoot, shit. Mark Henry didn't want to pay tribute to Hulk Hogan. He was one of those black people that were upset. And you know what makes me sick about some black folks, man? Don't play apologists for these people. They some of these so-called conservatives, these like I don't know. Some of these old comic booky nerd guys, and I don't have anything against the comic booky nerd guys, but some like some of these, want to be cool with the white folks people. I get that. I get that. You feel like it gives you an advantage, but to go above and beyond and to help, you know, s- many which are racist attack Mark Henry, that's foul. That's foul. And you know what? I already knew some of you guys wouldn't shit anyway. So it's like none of this stuff surprises me. But it's always great to give your point of view in stuff like that. So said so. But he's standing 10 toes down. He don't give a shit about what folks think. He believes that that all the precaution in the world should have been taken, and it wasn't. You put somebody with zero experience in the ring, a young guy, a little hothead motherfucker too, and yeah, he's a rich kid. I'm not saying he's a privileged kid like that because Ramp. Rampage didn't make that money through privilege. Yeah, let me talk about Rampage for a second. He made that money through hard work and sweat. And shooting, getting punched in his damn face. Shoot. Yeah, 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 yeah. Rampage Jackson, he says some goofy shit sometimes. He says some straightforward shit sometimes too. But to say that he failed as a father, that he failed as a black father, like some numbskull said before, believe that's taking it a bit far. I think it's taking it a big far. Because the point I made the other night in the private broadcast that y'all will never see, and the point I'm about to make right now, how can you feel him at 25? That dude's a grown ass man. What the fuck are you talking about? He's 25 years old. He's off his mother's tit. He's probably been off his mother's tits for quite some time. The fuck out of here. Like this whole insane attack that we always have on black fatherhood, even if Rampage was wrong in some kind of goddamn way, it is more opportunity for y'all to act up. And it pisses me the fuck off. Especially with the racist shit too. Like, why do some black folks that be on the internet all the goddamn time act like they don't know these folks are being overly racist, upfront racist? Why y'all act like that? Why y'all act like y'all don't see that? You ignore it. You just want to criticize. I just want to criticize Ramses. Oh my God. And I get it. You can't be critical of Rampage. You shouldn't raise a son that goes into a fake wrestling match and beats the shit out of his opponent. But he was trained in nothing. Roger Jackson was trained in absolutely nothing involving wrestling. if he were to punch, how to make it look like it hurt, how to make it look painful instead of it actually being painful. Because everybody has been in a wrestling ring that, knows a little something about wrestling, any of even fans. We know that it's a stage performance and you're not supposed to really go in there and hurt somebody. Because that's something that's a no-no. Like hurting somebody for real, even is like by accident or if it's even if it's by accident, you can be looked at as somebody who is going to be labeled dangerous to work with. That is something that no wrestler likes to be in the ring with. One person who was infamous for that, I watched WWE wrestling, so I would know this person. Nia Jax. Nia Jax used to like be dangerous in the ring, and it wasn't because she was doing it maliciously. It was because she didn't know how to work. Then work means like how to be in the ring. She know how to now. She's totally redeemed herself, but she had to be trained to do that. Raja Jackson is basically a pit bull in human form and did not have any idea of ring psychology and mannerisms. What this promotion saw was, hey, Rampage Jackson's son, viral moment. We're in the WWE ID program. WWE ID program is basically a program that looks at independent wrestling promotions. And what they do is like what Vince did back in the day with the territories. They're going to pull all the best guys out of their promotions and leave the smaller promotions out to dry. So they're calling it the WWE ID program. I was like, all right. So yeah, capitalism. But yeah. So really the accountability is on Raja Jackson because if he did not intend to hurt Psycho Stu, it looks a hell of a lot like he tried to. And as of right now, I don't believe he's been arrested. And there was a rumor going around that he was actually booked for a independent wrestling promotion called Danger Pro Wrestling, but they that was debunked because the wrestling promotion, they don't want anything to do with Roger Jackson, and even the people who ran the building said if you have him here, that could compromise our business relationship. So yeah, they probably, independent promotions, bigger promotions, wrestling promotions, whatever, probably even MMA promotions, because they probably blacklisted Raja Jackson. That probably would make a lot of sense. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense if they blacklisted Raja Jackson. Shoot. Yeah. So, and I blame Raja. I blame Psycho Stu for trying to be this old pompous ass backstage vet that I could just pick on anybody I want because that's the culture. That is the culture of professional wrestling locker rooms. If you are a newbie, you had to roll with the punches. You know who didn't like rolling with the punches? Mark Henry. I mean, for real. Because the thing is, though, you're a black man, you're a big black man. People are going to try you in an environment that they know that you can't really do anything back too much. I faced this at like a lot of the physical jobs that I worked at. I'm not trying to humble brag or anything like that, but still, shoot, I went through that. So that's the perspective Mark Henry is thinking from. Like, there's probably some people that Mark Henry wish he could have punched or slammed a little bit more or whatever. But Mark Henry was for real though. He was one of those guys people were afraid of. Yeah, because he was a big and he was labeled the world's strongest man. So No, I don't blame podcasters. Yeah, I don't blame podcasters. I don't blame opinions. Raja Jackson, yes, deserves some accountability. Psycho Stu deserves some accountability. Knox Pro Wrestling deserves some accountability. You know who deserves the least accountability? And this is going to be a controversial take. Quentin Rampage Jackson. Sorry. If you can disagree, you can disagree. Let's agree to disagree and let's grow together. So, once again, if you are new to this channel, you can hit the subscribe button. But also, if you are a returning viewer and you are subbed, please make sure that you are still subbed. You know, I'm just like I'm the YouTube channel that I will gain 1 or 2 subscribers, and then the same day I'll lose 1 or 2 subscribers. So that's fine if people are unsubbing, whatever. I mean, I mean, we're not going to please everybody. You should not be on any platform, social media, real life, to please everyone. But just in case it is what many of us think it is, then just make sure you're still subbed. So, yeah. But yes, let's start talking a little bit about the whole issue of the race part, the race part of this whole thing. And maybe you'll agree with me, maybe you won't. Maybe you think that I'm just trying to, race bait or whatever, or, rage bait or, you know, but here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. If you believe all of that tension, all if you believe all of that vitriol is coming from just the incident by itself, you are sadly mistaken. I mean, for real. Like people getting on this goddamn high horse, man. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. There are people that worse have happened to that you pretty much was like, okay, Oh, we feel so sorry for Psycho Stu. I think somebody in that promotion had it in for that, man. All of the bad instructions. I mean, the totally bad idea of, even having Raja Jackson involved. But don't act like that there's not some type of racial undertone in all of this. I'm going to tell you what it is the fact that this image right here, behind the caption, the Jackson incident and irresponsible act of violence. They don't like that kind of imagery. If you know who they is, you know. It's about the way this shot looks. Yes, this is some of these some of these insecure neck beards. This is like their worst nightmare coming true. Oh my god, that guy, he's all this is assault. This is assault. That's the word I've been hearing. This is assault. Oh yeah, attempted murder also. Assault and attempted murder. Those are the main two. Even Booker T, can you dig it, sucker? Even Booker T. Yeah, he assaulted a man. That looked like attempted murder. But you know what Booker T also said? He said the same thing Mark Henry said. Everybody in there should have been knowing what the fuck they was doing. Shoot. An MMA fighter's kid. I believe that it is because they wanted that quick publicity. This is Raja Jackson. He's second generation fighter, just like his father. He's in Knox Pro Wrestling ring. We're gonna get a headline. You got a headline, all right. Shoot, that headline read, Stu wasn't psycho enough. Yeah, I'm gonna get to these comments, like, kind of something. So, yeah, but listen up, guys. It's called harsh reality. You gotta get ready to go if in any combat sports situation, whether it's MMA, boxing, or TV, theatrical, professional wrestling. Yeah, 'cause I call this TV wrestling. We all know what wrestling is. That shit we see in the Olympics. That shit you see in them Division 1 schools. Shoot, junior highs and shit. Yeah, that's what wrestling is. Shoot, when you talk about pro wrestling, you're talking about a show. You're talking about a performance. And that was about as real as it got. So, all right, let's go through some comments. Let's go through some comments and then I probably will get the you know what up out of here. Carlton Way one was good. This guy right here, I'm not gonna try to pronounce that, but okay. Uh I'm surprised Roger hasn't been arrested. Yeah, that's complicated. Kevin, they're going to say you're AI. How? Yeah, I'm AI, y'all. Look, look. Let me see if I can match up with the let me see if I can match up with the avatar. Look, y'all see it? You see it? Shoot. Say Roger, I should have had the common sense to know that he went too far. I agree with that. I do. Detroit 313. You said The Rock. Yeah, I'm not. I'm kind of not happy with The Rock. I mean, I hope that he somehow involves himself in WWE again, but he kind of messed up the storyline this year. If you know, you know. They boo booing people. Man, they play all kinds of vicious pranks on each other. And see, when Mark Henry said what he said, people weren't keeping that in mind. You put boo boo in my food, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. Probably do more than that. And man, like that's gonna ruin your week. You bite into a boo boo sandwich. That's your ass. I'm sorry. You can no, that's unacceptable. Mark Henry told a story about their lunchbox was shitted on. Yeah, that was it. Even Maven agreed with Roger Jackson. Yeah, I watch Maven sometimes. I watch Devon Dudley. I watch Stevie Richards. Yeah, Stevie Richards, he got the white take. He's the one he's the one that's like he says he cares about the safety of wrestlers. He's one of those pro wrestlers that, he was mad at Travis Scott for busting rupturing Cody Rhodes eardrum on that slap. So, I kind of understand where he coming from, but then again, I expect more from us than from them. So, yeah, Mark got more hate than Faison love, and he said he don't give a damn. He don't give a damn. He said he is unapologetic. He is bulletproof. You cannot bully me. Shoot, I feel the same way. You cannot bully me either. And that would be killing me about certain folks. If you don't agree with them, oh man, I'm gonna bully you. I'm gonna put your address out there. It's like you don't get your weak ass out of here. Pull up, nigga. You pull up since you know where I stay. Shoot, Phil Bradley was good. Goldberg, yeah, Goldberg kicked Bret Hart in WCW, essentially ending Bret Hart's career. And Bret Hart lost a lot of money. He lost millions with that injury. Millions. And then you know what the messed up part about that was? WCW closed anyway, like a year later, a year or two later. So it was like If Goldberg had waited it out to fuck it up, Brett would have had his money. Phil Bradley was good. Raja should go to bare knuckle boxing in another country. In another country, because it's not gonna. None of that's gonna fly in America. He like the UF. Like I said, the UFC ain't gonna give him a job. The UFC ain't gonna give him a job because UFC is under the umbrella of TKO. TKO is WWE as well. So no, but yeah, he should definitely do something else. I remember that dude complaining with Miami Dolphins. What up, Art Newstall? Was good. Andre 420. I say F you, not you, but in a nice way. He said, my nephew likes wrestling, so I've been trying to get back into it. Yeah. I actually stopped watching WWE like 2 and 3 years at a time, something like that. I stopped watching it from like 20, I believe like 2016, 2017 to 2020, something like that. 2021. Yeah, and then I got back into it, but before that it was since I was a kid. Yeah. Said, yeah, his ego got in the way. Yeah, because he was about to, he was gonna do some fake wrestling. You know, he's getting himself hyped up for his live stream, and he wow. Oh boy, Marcus Romero Productions was good, man. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Ahmed Johnson, yeah. Ahmed Johnson was two things. He was he injured people and he was injury prone, which ultimately did not work out well with the WWE. So, I mean, you injuring folks and you injury prone, we can't use you. Then he had serious backstage attitude problems. Mark Henry was one of the ones that did not like Ahmed Johnson. Ron Simmons did not like Ahmed Johnson. Barely any of the black wrestlers liked Ahmed Johnson. We'll talk about that some other time, though. Coffee Nino was good. Was good. I didn't mean that in a negative way. CGA proudly says he watches almost every episode of WWE. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I watch like every episode too. I watch Raw, SmackDown, NXT. I'm even watching that Evolve show that's on Tubi. Oh, Nelson Frazier, Viscera, King Mabel, Big Daddy V. Yeah, yeah, but yeah. So I I would say like probably the only way that Raja Jackson is gonna get arrested if Psycho Stu actually dies. If Psycho Stu gets up, and starts walking around and decides to hit somebody else in the head with a beer can, so, I mean that shit's on him. But uh, it does seem like he is recovering, and that's a good thing. Because like I said, if he die, oh, white America. But like Rampage Jackson been getting death threats. Death threats for what? Because like I said, those white guys don't like to look like they're in a vulnerable position against black guys. And I'm sorry to say that, and I'm sorry for the YouTube algorithm or whoever or whatever controls that, but it's just that's something that I have known ever since I was a kid. I can even tell you a wrestling related one. Hell, when they was doing like back in the day, WWE's SmackDown versus Raw before it became WWE 2K. Uh when they did game screens with Triple H insisted that he didn't have any images where he looked vulnerable, where he was getting beat up. man, RPM was good. Yeah, did you had Kevin, I think Kevin Lee, MMA fighter Kevin Lee was like he made a video on social media, uh, kind of making a plea to Rampage Jackson, saying that you need to turn your son in. Like, for the hell what? Why does he need to turn himself his what why would a father turn his son in? It's like, damn, the dude ain't dead. Shoot. I mean, shit. I don't think that people are really thinking about every aspect involved here. Like, for instance, somebody signing a waiver. And the other night, I did mention that there have been wrestlers that have been blacklisted from the business for hurting their opponent. There's even an incident where a wrestler died. Let's see, Paraguayo Jr. and Rey Mysterio were in a match. Like I think it was a triple A match. I don't know if it was CMLL or triple A. It was in a triple A match, and I think Ray did a 619 where he either hit him in hit the kid in the head, not the kid. Like I think he was about 30 by the end. Like he did a 619 or something, and the guy head snapped back and he died in the ring. Shoot. But we were able to forgive Rey Mysterio for that. I mean, and that was a total accident. It was a total accident, but I just wanted to share that one time that guy died in the ring. Yeah, Triple H got fucked up many times, but the point that I was trying to make was that he didn't want any game screenshots, the screenshots that were included in the game to where he was looking vulnerable. Yeah, Triple H is one of them guys that like to glaze himself. He get. I bet you Triple H believes that he's in the top 10 of greatest wrestlers of all time, and he's not. Like, not at all. I don't even think Triple H is in the top 50 if you're talking about all wrestlers. Like his boy Shawn Michaels is in the top 10. Triple H, maybe I'm low balling him. I don't know, but shoot, maybe I'm not very happy because of the way that some black wrestlers say they were treated, or how we see how black wrestlers are being portrayed. And that's like I said, that's the racism. That's the racism conversation that I promised you guys a couple weeks ago. Yeah, but yeah, the great Khali was dangerous. To He deleted someone in the ring. The great Khali could really fight. Yeah, he might have looked a bit immobile because he walked around like he was on stilts, but he was that tall. But as far as his fighting ability for real, yeah, he was the real deal. Yeah, the great Khali was a real. He put hands on Big Show. Like great Khali put them hands on Big Show. Shoot, Triple H is in the top 30. If you want to count how evil he was, yeah, yeah, evil heel character, yeah. I think Booker T beat him. Beat who? The Great Khali? I don't know. You might have because like one thing about the Great Khali, they started jobbing him after a while. Jobbing mean that he started losing matches. The guys said he should have never lost to. Logically. Yeah, yeah, but anyway, Big Show was big for nothing. Man, Big Show was one of the lightest big men that I had ever seen, man. Like people, it just seemed like he was a damn near 500-pound guy that was easy to pick up. It was easy to pick up. And Kurt Angle used to get under. Kurt Angle used to get under him and just scoop him up. Just like I'm like, damn, this shit is horrible. Shit is bad. Man, that yeah, you're right. He was big for that Triple H. Oh, okay. Booker T was supposed to beat Triple H WrestleMania 19. Like the way they was building the story up, and like this is a story for the other show I'm supposed to do. But the key promo that they cut in that one show in that before WrestleMania was Triple H saying someone like you, looking at Booker T, someone like you. It was a very cringy promo, and every black guy that was watching WWE at the time knew exactly what Triple H meant. And Booker T was supposed to win that match, but he didn't. Triple H, from what I hear, went too creative before the event and had the result of the match changed because like him and Shawn Michaels, early Shawn Michaels, not, you know, not the one that came back as a born again Christian. They used to do that shit. They used to get endings to matches changed. The Giant was phenomenal in WCW. He moved like a cruiserweight. You know why he stopped moving like that? The Undertaker. Yeah, like I said, I watch shoot interviews like all the time. I watch podcasts. Undertaker said he got on the phone like he was watching Monday Nitro. He said he got on the phone. I forgot who he said answered, but they knew who he was. He said, "Man, look, let me talk to him." And Undertaker was like, "Okay, listen up, man. Look." And Big Show was like, "Oh, it's an honor, man. Undertaker, man." And he's like, "Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah, whatever, man." And Undertaker said, "If you ever want to make it in this business, you're gonna stop doing that. You're gonna stop moving like that. What's special about you if you move like everybody else? You're supposed to be a giant. You're supposed to be a killer." And you know the messed up part about that? The Undertaker would walk the fucking ropes. The Undertaker would leap over the top rope. Come on, man. The Undertaker would get aerial and get mad because another big man did it. I think that Undertaker didn't like other big men that were agile. I think that was just a backstage ego thing. I mean, Undertaker is one of my favorites of all time, definitely in the top 10. But there's a lot of politics in wrestling. Somebody who was really bad with it was Hulk Hogan. So somebody really bad with it was Hulk Hogan. He was very political. Triple H was pretty bad too. That's why, like, I kind of have reservations about putting either one of them in the top 30. Shoot, I'm talking about everybody. Shit, Ron Simmons is in the top 30. He's in my top 30. Shoot, you cannot like if you have a top 30 in wrestling, you cannot exclude the first black world champion of WCW. Hey, the Undertaker was on that shit now, for real. Like he was one of Vince McMahon's boys. Like, there was a guy named Brian Lee. He was also a tall, agile man, but, I kinda understand this to an extent. Like, the Undertaker didn't like him because he he slept with the Undertaker first wife, and, like, Undertaker's like, "No, this guy's never gonna make it in the business." And I mean, like, if you had a choice between Brian Lee and the Undertaker, a lot of people don't know who Brian Lee is. I know who Brian Lee is. Brian Lee wrestled down south for a while. Shoot, but he was one of the disciples of Apocalypse, the motorcycle gang, and they was gonna make Undertaker the leader of that group. For those of you who remember that in early Attitude Era, but the thing happened with the Undertaker's wife, supposedly the Undertaker wife and Brian Lee, who's the first black champion of WCW. Sorry for asking. Do not apologize. As you all well know, if you've been watching for a while, that I am very interactive with the chat. Uh, the first black world champion of World Championship Wrestling, and I believe it was the last of the Crockett promotion days, was Ron Simmons. A black man had never held that belt until Ron Simmons. And like, and really, a lot. I don't think a black man was a world champion, period, until Ron Simmons. I don't know. Might have been Freight Train Jones. I gotta make sure. Uh, I gotta make sure that is a correct answer. But definitely in the bigger promotions, Ron Simmons was the first black world champion. They did it before the WWF at the time. Now they're WWE. But then a lot of people would count The Rock as the first black world champion. No, if technically, if you want to count a full black guy, it was Booker T in WWE. But in WCW in the big recognized promotions, it was Ron Simmons. Yeah, and yeah, I got a little story for you. I went to WrestleMania in Detroit in 2007. I think it was WrestleMania 22, I believe. Yeah, I see Ron Simmons walking across the street. I'm 5'11". Ron Simmons kind of towers over me a little bit. Uh, he was just trying to get across the street. Everybody's like, "Oh, it's Ron Simmons. Can I take a picture, man? Oh, Ron Simmons." Like, and Ron Simmons was like, "Oh, get out my way." I was like, "Damn, look, it's Ron Simmons, the first black world champion." That man stuck his hand out. I don't expect everybody to believe that either, but hey, it happened. I should have got a picture, but that was before smartphones. That was like you were still carrying around separate cameras. Yeah, my favorite black man was Booker T. Hey, if you guys come back for my racism of wrestling broadcast, I will fully discuss that with you guys. Like we can discuss that, but that's gonna be like a whole dialogue right there. So yeah, I would like to see Carlton Way 1, Detroit 313, Andre 420, Chaos Reign. Shoot, any of you ask like shoot, any of you for real. If you know a little bit about wrestling, even if you don't, you just want to come and watch the conversation. Yeah, I met Ron Simmons. It ain't like I said, "Hi, Ron Simmons. My name is Kevin." It wasn't like that. But I said, "Look, Ron." Like I was like, I became a mark at that time. I was like, "Damn, look, Ron Simmons, the first Black World Champion." Like shit. And he extended it after trying to for like he was just trying to get a beer. He want to have like because fanboys like and I hate to call them that, but fanboys every time they see somebody they want to take a picture with them. Oh God, let me get a picture with me and holding my belt like and all the other shit. And y'all know I'm telling the truth. And I do understand that like when I see somebody who is a public figure or a celebrity, they don't want to hear that shit all the time. They don't want to deal with people, and I'm okay with that because when I go to the local Walmart, I don't like talking to people I know either. Like, but when I say the first black world champion, he stuck his hand out, and I will appreciate that moment forever. Oh, you like Mick Foley, Mankind? The guy who sacrificed his body. I never heard of Ron Simmons before. That's my time. Well, he did wrestle in WWF with the Nation of Domination as Farouk. And if you remember this tag team called the APA, him and this guy named Bradshaw. Yeah, that's Ron Simmons, the black guy. And he's the black guy that says, damn, he's that guy. He'll pop up backstage randomly and be like, damn. You remember I had that male gaze, that night, not gays like homosexuals, but that now that now I'm feeling objectified by your male gaze. And Ron, you heard the damn. That's Ron Simmons. That's when I was over on StreamYard. StreamYard come up with a deal. I might go back. Shoot, but yeah, they jacked that price up, and then I let it slip because I haven't live streamed in a while. Well, I didn't live stream in a while. I'm trying to get back into the flow, but definitely check out. I've been putting out some shorts. You said you remember Bradshaw, but the black man never gets no shine. Uh, yeah, like I said, that's a discussion for that racism of pro wrestling. Yeah, but we go ahead, man. Let me go ahead and just go ahead and just kind of end it here. Uh, yeah, yeah. There's a responsibility on a lot of sides of this, and seriously, to blame it all on Roger, I just think that it's a bit unfair. All of these angry white males out here is like this. And I always tell people, I wouldn't make it about race if you didn't make it about race. You know, you got two black men being attacked for one for their viewpoint, other one because he's a father. This man crying on camera. I don't really like too much crying on camera. I don't care what the situation is, even Rampage Jackson situation. Nigga, don't cry on camera. That's what they want to see. And they still gonna shit on you. Yeah, I realize it's your son, bro. But dude, I mean, he did say something like he said he hopes that if you guys are fathers that you never have to deal with what I gotta deal with or something like that. Yeah, he has to deal with a lot because, as parents, loving parents, we worried about our children. And his son did something extremely stupid. Not only he damn near killed a man with his bare hands. Shoot, he pissed off white America. And you don't do that, I had to get had to get to my deep Alabama accent. Just shit. Said I like the promo Ron Simmons did with the Nation of Domination and the Rock was making those hilarious faces. Yeah, because they was building up a split. They was building up the breakup. Like how the Rock took over the Nation, and then Ron, well, Farouk at the time disappeared. Then he came back as Bradshaw tag team partner. You said I was with my uncle who understands what is said here, but will never understand what we talk about. Uh, okay. Thank you, and hopefully, you can understand one day. Shoot, been a while? Yeah, man. I know it been a while, man. I had to step back a little bit, man. Just step back a little bit, but I think I stepped back a little bit too much because, like I said, I gotta crawl back into my monetization. But my shorts been doing okay, but they're shorts. The it would be nice if I could get my required watch time just doing videos and shorts. I'm not talking against the live stream or anything, but like the live stream, if you do enough of them, then like you get a lot of people watching, and then you can build your hours up that way. But just this channel right here is a special one. It's like I'm still figuring out. It's almost like the channel acts like I'm still figuring out where it belongs. And I believe I am where I belong, So, but hey, just anyway. Um yeah, that's it. That's it for me. Guys to I gotta wake up. I grind almost every day and I'm getting old, so yeah, that shit need to that shit need to kind of slow down. So AM blew off shorts. Don't sleep on them. Oh, he blew up off shorts. Uh Yeah, it would be nice if I had all 3 algorithms, but I'm not saying I don't have all 3 algorithms. It's just that there's opportunity for things to pick back up again because if I wasn't doing content for almost 6 months. I mean, I would do something every now and again, but I really wasn't consistent like that. And it just I don't know. Maybe I just had to step back or whatever. But uh yeah, I don't I want to stay here this time. Yeah, I want my perspective to stay out there, and for those who you come through and listen, you come through and listen. If you decide it's for you, it's for you. If it ain't, it ain't. Can't please everybody. But I know there's at least a few hundred more out there. So yeah, we'll find them all together. So anyway, thank you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Uh Replay gang, let me know what you think in the comment section. And I will see you sooner than later. Peace.